It started in the most unlikely of places, an antique shop in Florida. As an airline memorabilia collector, I was flipping through piles of old travel items when a thick China Airlines ticket book from the late 1970s caught my eye. Pink carbon paper, heavy stock, bold red stamps, the kind of thing collectors love. When I got home and looked closer, one detail jumped out. Typed neatly across the coupon was a name, Mr. Mickey Edward. That wasn't a common name. A quick search revealed that Mr. Mickey Edwards wasn't just another traveler. He was a congressman from Oklahoma, brand new to Washington in the late 1970s. Suddenly, this wasn't just a ticket, it was a story. And wow, what a routing it was. Washington to Chicago on United, Chicago to Los Angeles, again on United, Los Angeles to Tokyo on Pan American, Tokyo to Taipei on China Airlines, back to Tokyo on China Airlines, across the Pacific to New York on Pan Am, and finally New York to Washington on United. 7 coupons in all. Domestic legs on United, the Pacific crossing with Pan Am's Globe on the tail, and the regional hop into Taiwan with China Airlines, still using its old code AE at the time. The fare printed on the ticket was $2,372. In today's money, that's more than $10,000. Clearly, this was no casual vacation, and the timing made it even more significant, as in January 1979, President Jimmy Carter cut formal ties with Taiwan and recognized Beijing. It was a diplomatic earthquake. Congress pushed back with the Taiwan Relations Act, pledging continued support, leading lawmakers, including Edwards, across the Pacific to reassure Taipei. And thanks to the Carl Albert Center archives at the University of Oklahoma, we now know Congressman Edwards was already deeply involved. Letters in his files help tell the story. In January of 1979, the Oklahoma City Chamber of Commerce praised him for traveling to Taiwan and stressed how important the relationship was for trade.
You are to be commended for the trip to Taiwan. We hope that it proves helpful in maintaining close relationships with those Chinese people who have been good friends to the United States for over 30 years.
In March of 1979, Edwards himself wrote back to a constituent, explaining he had joined a 9-member congressional delegation to Taipei. He described how Carter's decision had shaken the island and made clear that America must still treat Taiwan as an ally and a partner.
In order to protect our present trade agreements and to make new trade treaties, we must recognize the Republic of China as an independent nation, and that we must help the people of Taiwan protect themselves and their country. I believe it is possible to recognize 2 Chinas instead of only one, just as we recognize 2 Germanys.
Other letters poured in from constituents worried about communism and America's role in Asia.
I am terribly afraid our president is selling our country out to communism.
I am afraid the president has surrounded himself with the wrong advisors and therefore cannot be trusted.
Edwards answered personally, reassuring them he had been there and seen it firsthand. So this ticket fits right into that history. Evidence that after one trip early in the year, Edwards returned again in July. What a time. United's DC-8s and 727s on the domestic hops. Pan Am's 747 stretching across the Pacific from LAX to Tokyo's Haneda. And China Airlines carrying him into Taipei on its trijets and 747 SPs. Each coupon, each code, another piece of history. This old ticket is more than a boarding pass. It's a piece of Cold War diplomacy typed in airline code. A congressman carrying Oklahoma farm brochures and foreign policy talking points stapled into the same pink ticket stock the rest of us once used for vacations. Today, United still flies the corridors. China Airlines still runs Taipei to Tokyo. Pan Am is gone. And those triangular routings through Tokyo are long gone too. What began as a collector's curiosity in a Florida antique shop turned into a window onto history. The summer of 1979, when America was redefining its role in Asia. A ticket with one man's name, and with it, a story that connects aviation, politics, and the fragile balance of the Cold War. In the end, it wasn't just United, Pan Am, and China Airlines that carried him across the map. It was history itself. Cruising at 35,000 feet, carbon copied for the record, Mickey Edwards went on to serve in Congress until 1993, rising into Republican leadership and building a reputation as a principled constitutional voice. After leaving the House, he spent decades teaching and writing, shaping future generations at places like Harvard and Princeton. So this ticket isn't just a record of one journey. It's a glimpse of a young congressman at the start of a long career. A journey that, like the flight path itself, stretched far beyond the summer of 1979.